guys, so today we're going to talk a little bit about citing text evidence, and I'm going to give you an example of why citing text evidence is so important. Let's say that you make a very significant scientific discovery, you put a lot of hard work into it, and at the end when you're done, you write up a whole paper explaining it and explaining what you discovered. Okay, then let's say someone comes along and they see your paper and they decide, oh, you know what? I'm going to copy all of that and I'm going to put my name on it and say that I did that. Not okay, right? Another example might be that maybe you painted a picture or you wrote a song and then same thing happened, right? Someone comes along, they like the work you did, they put their name on it and try to pass it off as their own. No, they're the one who did all the work. You're the one that put in all the time and energy. You deserve the credit. So it's super important for us to learn to cite text evidence because we're essentially giving the original author the credit, right? Because when we steal that information, we copy it and try to pass it off as our own, it's called plagiarism. And plagiarism can get you in a lot of trouble. It's cheating, it's stealing information without consent, really. And it can even get you kicked out of college. So it's super important that we learn now how to cite text evidence in a productive way. Okay, so there are a few key words I want you to understand. And one of them that you're going to be using a lot is paraphrasing. Now, if you look over here, it says paraphrase. And you're probably going to want to make the presentation when you're looking at it on your own big screen so you can see everything. But it says paraphrasing is restating it in your own words. So let's go to the next slide. Here's an example. So the original text, whatever it may be, said, Willy Wonka was famous for his delicious candy. And oh my gosh, sorry. My dog just coughed really loud. Okay. Okay. Willy Wonka was famous for his delicious candy. Children and adults love to eat it. So we're going to paraphrase that. We're going to just say the exact same thing, but we're going to say it in our own words. So we might say, to paraphrase, Willy Wonka was known throughout the world because people enjoyed eating the tasty candy he made. All right? So notice, I've used different words. I've said it differently, but I essentially said the same thing. Now, we'll get into this later on. We will give credit here. What you do is you put in a citation with the author's name, but we'll get into that later. So you just kind of make a little mental note in the back of your head. Also, if you can hear moo cow snoring, I apologize for that. Life with dogs. Okay, so that's what paraphrasing is. Sometimes even what I do is let me show you really quick, will look up the thesaurus. And the thesaurus just lets you look up synonyms of words. And remember, a synonym is a word that's like another word. It means the same thing. So let's say from here, I wanted to change the word famous, right? Well, I kind of do this here. So I might look up famous, and then in the thesaurus, it might come up as well-known. Oops, I put me at the end of that. Hold on. Famous? Nope, yep, I meant famous. Okay. So I meant famous. Come on now. Give it a second to load. So I put famous in here, okay? So what I might say is recognize. I could go back in my new words and say Willy Wonka was recognized because people enjoyed eating the tasty candy he made, right? So we can take these words and, again, make them our own as long as we're not using it word for word, and then we'll give credit later in the citation. Okay, now coming back to here, the other thing I want you guys to pay attention to is a direct quote. So really you have two options. We're going to paraphrase or use a direct quote. And a direct quote is when you can copy what the author says word for word, but you've got to give them the credit in what you're in the actual thing. So let me give you an example. So it says in paragraph 4, the author states. So I gave the author credit, right? I didn't say I stated it, and I didn't just state it. I said the author states. The luminous sky was a lovely robin egg azul. Direct quote. Okay, we've got another example over here. And I want you to pay attention to this because this is what your questions on your assignment are going to look like. You're going to have a claim, okay? So this one says, Nobody knows the true story of the three little pigs. What text evidence supports this? So then I'm going to go back to the text. I'm going to look, and I can either paraphrase, restate it in my own words, or use a direct quote. And I could say, in the story, Alexander T. Wolf, who's a character, says, and quote, "The real story is about a sneeze and a cup of sugar." Okay, notice here, just while we're here, we have quotations. Anytime we have quotations after the action word, whether it says, yells, exclaimed, whatever, we always have a comma. Always have a comma, quotation mark, capital letter. Always. Whoopsies. Okay. And then this here is that little in-text citation I was telling you about. We will get through that later. But then you do punctuation, end quote. Okay. Your period, your question mark, your exclamation point, it always comes before the last quote. Okay. So then I go on to explain this quote. And I say, this shows that according to Alexander T. Wolf, he was not trying to eat the pigs, but instead simply borrow a cup of sugar. Now, let's take a look at your assignment really quick. So, you're going to read the story of the three little pigs or listen to it, but you probably will need to go back to the written one or typed one to get your text evidence. So once you have read the story, you're going to identify text evidence that comes with each claim. Make sure you're using proper citation with signal phrases, commas, quotation marks, along with parentheses and page numbers. So refer back to the slides for an example, which we just went over. And then here are some sentence starters, okay? These are really going to be, well, most of them, okay. So some of these are set up for direct quotes, and some of these are kind of set up for paraphrasing, okay? You choose. If you want to use the same one on each one, go for it. I'd encourage you to try different ones, but I want you to use these to kind of help get you started. So, you know, the claim, just like how we saw the claim on the other page, Al is sick. What text evidence supports this? So I might say, the reader can tell Al is sick because, and maybe you paraphrase it. You say it in your own words. Or you could say, on page blank, one reads, and then put the quote. And then you say, this shows that Al is sick because, okay, I need you to explain why that text evidence proved to be. Why is that evidence for the claim, right? Al is sick, okay, you gave me the evidence. Okay, now explain the evidence to me. All right, email me if you have questions about that. So there's just a few questions there. Coming back to our presentation really quick. Let me look here. Is there anything else we need to go over? This is where this video is going to be. I don't think so, okay? Again, you're gonna wanna make this big so you can read this. Again, go through this, utilize the chart, utilize the thesaurus.com if you need to. And if you guys have questions about citing text evidence, let me know. I hope you guys have a wonderful day.